Hello people of the internet world, welcome back to my channel. I'm Carrie Rad if you are new here, and if you've been here before, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing another travel style video. This video is going to be important tips you need to know before traveling to Italy. As most of you guys know, I spent about a month in Italy over the month of January. I was pretty much living there and I learned a lot about traveling to Italy. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that there was some very intense drama when I landed in Italy, the very first day.
Hello guys, I am popping in here really quickly because some of you guys saw onto my Twitter about 4 or 5 hours ago that my mom and I had pretty much everything we brought with us to Rome stolen out of the car that we had. Locked car.
And the main reason why I want to tell you what happened is because there's so many lessons I learned that I really want to share with you guys so you can bring it with you on your journey to Italy or really anywhere in the world. Please take a moment to make sure that you guys are subscribed to my channel with notifications turned on. It's that bell button right next to the subscribe button. That way you'll never miss a new video from me. Give this video a thumbs up for Italia. First and foremost, let's talk about flights to Italy. If you're in the market for a ticket to Italy, please know that there are flights that are less expensive than what you would think. A lot of people think I'm not going to Italy, it's way too expensive for me to fly there, and I was very pleasantly surprised when I started looking up flights. If you do your research and you make sure that you're looking up flights on probably like a Tuesday, I'd say is the best day, because just so you know, airlines do change their prices on different days of the week. People are looking more for flights on like a Friday than they are on a Tuesday, so sometimes the prices are a little bit lower midweek. But in general, tickets to Italy are a lot less expensive than I expected. Obviously, they range, but you can find cheaper flights if you look hard enough. Once you land in Italy, they use euros there. So obviously, if you're coming from the US or a place where the currency is valued a bit less during that time, you're going to be spending a little bit more money with the conversion rate. So when I was in Italy, if I spent about 100 euro, I would be spending at least like 130, 140, 150 euro, depending on what the rate was that day. I made sure to bring a travel credit card with me that had no international transaction fee, because a lot of people don't realize that if you have just a regular debit card or a regular credit card, every time you swipe your card when you're out of the country, they give you an international transaction fee, and that can really start to add up. Don't carry a ton of cash on you, but always make sure you have some, because not all places take card, and you'll run into a lot of situations, especially at small markets and places like that, where you do need to have cash available. You can pull out euros at the ATM, you can convert your currency before you leave the country, you can convert it when you're there. That's totally up to you, however you feel comfortable, but I want to just say again and reiterate the fact that do not carry a lot of cash on your person, because pickpocketing does exist in Italy and it happens quite often. That leads me into my next point, which is theft, robbery, pickpocketing, all of those gross things that you have to deal with when you are traveling in such a beautiful place where everyone wants to be. First off, pickpocketing. Keep your cash and your most important items where you can see them at all times. Do not put them in the front pocket of your backpack or even your backpack in general. Make sure it's on a crossbody, a fanny pack, somewhere in the front where you can see what's happening, that you can keep a hand on. Be aware of your surroundings. There's a lot of crowded places in Italy, especially if you're going to the Fontina dei Trevi or the Colosseum. Those areas have a lot of people, and that's where a lot of theft happens. You're looking at all of the beautiful sights around you, and you're not really paying attention to your cash. So just make sure that you're always kind of in it and realizing where you are, where your money is, and who's around you. Not only pickpocketing, but pretty intense robbery can happen, and that's what happened to me on my first day in Rome. And guys,
I'm so emotionally and physically exhausted right now. I feel like just a zombie. I cried for the first 3 or 4 hours that it happened, and it was just so violating. Like, I dropped to my knees when I realized.
My mom and I landed in Rome. We were switching from our Airbnb to my Zia's house in the countryside of Rome. We stopped really briefly at the Fontina dei Trevi to just throw a coin in, make a wish about the world and all the wonderful things that you can imagine. And we got back to the car and the luggages were gone out of the trunk of the car. So we freaked out. There was a lot that we dealt with. There was a lot of questions. There was a lot of drama. We ran down the street to the police station. The first police station didn't really want to deal with our problems, so we went to the second police station that was so much more helpful. I ran to a hotel ASAP to connect to the Wi-Fi to get on Where's My iPhone to find my MacBook, because they took my computer, they took all of our clothes, obviously, they took my cameras, a lot of equipment that I had for work. We dealt with it. That night was really hard. The first thing that we had to do was go get a toothbrush and toothpaste, just the simple things that we needed. The only thing I had on me was my wallet, my passport, which were both in my side crossbody bag, and then in my backpack I had my camera because I was taking pictures of the Fontina di Trevi. So I got lucky in that case that I didn't have to deal with a stolen wallet or stolen passport, and I also got lucky that I had my biggest camera in my backpack. But everything else that I packed for a month in Italy, gone. If you told me that that was going to happen to me a month before I left to Italy, I would have looked at you and said, you're crazy, I'm not going, there's no way I'll be able to get through that. But it's really interesting how resilient we are as human beings. My mom and I just kind of looked at each other, and yeah, it was devastating, but at the same time we were like, well, we're going to make the best of this situation. We're going to figure out how to get through this. We're going to get the essentials that we need to get by.
And I are here in Rome. We've been dreaming of this trip together for as long as I can remember, and we're here in Rome, and we're gonna have a good time, and we're not gonna let it ruin the trip.
Things are just things, and we can survive without them. Renter's insurance. Who knew? I was lucky enough that my boyfriend's mom knew to contact renter's insurance. She sent me an email while I was in Italy and said, do you happen to have renter's insurance? Because that might cover. So right away, I called my renter's insurance and I said, is there a way, does my policy cover for travel abroad? And it did. And in that moment, I was so thankful because I really did just write off my losses. I was sort of like, I lost everything for work. I have to figure out a way to get everything back. I lost a bunch of clothes, which wasn't a big concern to me. It was more so all of the equipment that I used to make videos for you guys. I had to go through the whole process of documenting every single thing that was in my luggage. Obviously, they will devalue things when they were used. Like my computer I have had for a very long time, so that was devalued pretty low. But then when you go in and purchase a new computer, they will reimburse you for the price of the new computer. So that was really helpful to me. Never realized that it would come through for travel insurance, for being robbed out of the country. So that's why I wanted to tell you guys this story and just give you that information, because if you ever deal with something like that, know that your renter's insurance will cover. And if you don't have renter's insurance, then maybe this puts the fire under your bum to go get it, because it's worth it. Next, let's talk about language. Wherever you go in the world, it's good to learn some basic things like hello, goodbye, where's the bathroom. That will get you by. Especially in Italy, people will respect you a little bit more if you try to speak the language. Even if you just learn ciao, which is super easy because it's hello and goodbye. I would recommend also learning grazie, because it's very nice to say thank you to people if they open the door for you. Any waiter that's serving you, grazie will go a long way. I was really lucky when I was in Italy because I had my full-blooded Italian mother with me. She can speak fluent Italian and fluent Napolitano. So when we were in northern Italy, we got by really well. And when we were in southern Italy, in Napoli, my mom was speaking Napolitano. I made sure when I was there to learn the language as much as I could, and today I would like to say that I can speak a little bit more Italian than I could when I entered Italy. I made sure to ask my cousins how to say specific things because we were with family a lot, and one of the things that they taught me to say to Alex, my boyfriend, was "Dame un bacio, amore mio, buona notte." Give me a kiss, my love, good night. All of the most important things like "Me dai un cappuccino, per favore?" Can I have a cappuccino, please? Speaking of language barriers, one of the hardest times I had in Italy when it came to speaking a different language was when I rented a car. I even had my mom with me, who speaks great Italian. It was still a frustrating experience, unfortunately. And I thought that maybe it was just the experience I had with my mom, but then weeks later when I went back to rent a car with Alex, my boyfriend, we had the exact same type of frustration. It was sort of just this experience where there was this random charge that didn't have a very good explanation, going back and forth. Nobody really understood the charges and what they meant, and there were random upcharges, and it was just a very confusing situation both times that I experienced it. I would highly recommend that you do not go through a third party or a booking agency. Go straight to the source, go straight to your main car rental place like your Hertz, your Budget, all of those main car rental companies. Go straight to them because there's going to be a charge that just there's no purpose for it. I wanted to mention that I think it's completely worth it to pay a little bit extra each day for a trunk that is separate. Instead of getting a car that is all one body where you can turn over the back seat and see the trunk, it's better to get a trunk that is completely separate and that locks separately once you are in the car. You are now driving in another country, which good on you because that is a huge learning experience and it's very empowering. I drove when I was in France. I loved the experience. I didn't drive in Italy, but I was a passenger for about a month. And I realized that people in Italy don't always abide by the rules of the road. Here in LA, we abide by the rules of the road to a certain extent. Obviously, there's like the California roll through the stop sign type of thing, and in LA, there's tons of traffic. People don't know how to drive in the rain. So there's all that. We have our own issues here in California. Driving in Italy is a whole different experience and adventure in itself. People do not use their blinkers when they are switching lanes. They go pretty fast most of the time. To pass you, they will pull up right to the butt of your car and they will just say, get out of the way, pretty much. It's pretty intense. They don't really mind to just kind of weave in and out, go fast, and sometimes I just think to myself like, don't they know like how dangerous that whole situation just was? Just stay calm at the wheel, go with the flow, relax, don't get too stressed out. Just know it's gonna be a little bit different than when you're home, but that's traveling in general. Everything is different from the way it is at home. I would like pull my feet up on the car and just like freak out and just be like, my whole body was like freaking out because I was, I guess, trying to press the brakes, even though I didn't have the brakes on my side. Let's talk about the Italian siesta. Most people forget that from about 1 to 4 p.m., everything, for the most part, is closed. There are some shops that stay open because they're the ones that are like, we're gonna stay open when everybody's sleeping so that we can make a little bit of extra money, which is smart. But most places close down because they go home and they eat with their families and it's their time to eat and take a nap. And I think it's genius. And I wish every single place in the world did this. But it's something to recognize and to remember when you're there, because if you want to go to a shop, you want to go to a market, if you want to do something midday like that, you're gonna run into a lot of places being closed. When Alex and I were in Tuscany, there was a moment where we were so hungry for lunch, but everything was closed, so we were just walking around. We couldn't even get food at a market or anything like that because we just completely forgot about the siesta that day. So speaking of food and looking for food, I highly recommend you eat like a local there. Don't go to all of the restaurants that are right near all of the touristy destinations. For instance, there's plenty of restaurants near the Colosseum that are a little bit more expensive just because they're right near the tourist destination. Although we did find a really good spot like close to the Colosseum, but like a little bit further down that was delicious and not super expensive. So if you just go a little bit further out than these touristy locations, you'll find some great places. And do your research. I use Yelp a lot. I like to read the reviews that people leave about different places. And just because a restaurant is empty does not mean that it's not good, especially if you are in Italy during the winter or during months where it's a little bit slower. Lastly, I want to talk about the pizza in Napoli. because a lot of people eat the pizza very weird in Napoli, which is what a Napolitano would think when they look at you. Because in the US, obviously we slice our pizza and we pick it up by the slice and we eat it that way. In Napoli, they eat it like a big pie. They use a fork and a knife, or they use their hands and tear it. But they mostly use a fork and a knife, and they cut like from the middle or from the side, and they eat it just any way that they want to. They don't want it sliced, and they don't slice it for you. And when you ask for it sliced, they look at you really strange. So to avoid that, eat like a local and just eat it the way that they do, because the pizza in Napoli is so good, and I don't want you guys to feel awkward when you ask for it sliced, because it's an awkward. I knew because my mom is Napolitano, but I had a table right next to me. It was a group of Chinese people, and they asked for it to be sliced, and the man from Napoli just kind of looked at them like, are you serious? And so I was like, oh no. So I don't want that to happen to any of you guys, so I just want to put that out there. I know that that's a random side note, and that's a weird place to leave off, but I'm leaving it at the pizza in Napoli, why not? One of the most important things that I've learned in my days of traveling is to learn, to do the research, do the pre-production, I guess you could say, on your trip, because it's so important to know what's going on before going into it, because I have had many moments where I'm in a country thinking, why did I not know this? I should have known this. That's why I think videos like this are so important to do if you're trying to inspire people to go places in the world and see different cultures. It's just really important to sit down and talk about the things that I've learned the hard way, so that hopefully you don't have to go through it the hard way. You can go in knowing what to do, having all the information that you need. So hopefully this video is super helpful for you guys. If it is, please remember to give it a thumbs up so that I know to make more videos like this, and make sure that you guys are subscribed. I hope that you guys are having an awesome day and have the best time in Italy. If you are planning a trip there, whatever you might be doing, please let me know in the comments. I want to live vicariously through you, because I want to be in Italy right now so bad. I miss it like crazy. There's a lot of information that I put in this video about things that are harder in Italy, but they are all so worth it because that place is so stunning. Obviously, there are tons of other important tips when traveling to Italy, so any of the tips that I missed, please put them down in the comments below so that you can help other people out who are on their way. Enjoy your trip. I love you guys to the moon and back, and I'll see you very soon in a new one.